the day had gone on, sort of don't know if the time had just vanished, but it was about 10 to 6, and Louise, Brian's daughter, she had come in the back door and she was saying, "Daddy's missing," and we weren't even worried at that time. We knew he was missing, but he was such a good person. We knew that he was doing something. There was no phones. You couldn't say, "Come here, it's okay, I'm away to take a car out to the hospital," or, so, really I was very placid about it all, because I knew he was okay, because he was doing something and you couldn't phone anybody. And so we sort of tried to calm Louise down a bit, and her brother Colin I think he had been in the town. He went out, him and another girl had went out to offer their services out at the hospital to help. His girlfriend at the time was training to be a doctor, I think, or she was at college or something. So they went out to help out at the hospital. So I think me and my brother got into the car and we drove out to the Arleston Road, to the back of the hospital. I think the soldiers were there at the time, or there was police, and we said that her brother was missing. We wanted to check the car parks to see where the car was. So they led us to the roundabout, I think, and we got out of the car, and I don't even know if my brother was with me at the time, or if he parked the car and I walked on. And Louise had said that her daddy would park the car at the back of a row of shops, so you couldn't sort of just look down and see a parked car or something. And I had walked round by Dunn's stores and I could see the back of the shops, and I seen the car sitting at the back of the shops, and the car was still there. So that's when we started to panic. And we says, well, the car's there, so he's not away helping somebody. So then you go on to another scenario. You think, right, the car's there, but obviously he couldn't get the car out, so he's in somebody else's car helping, till he's away with somebody else, and he's obviously can't contact anybody, so he's in somebody else's car helping somebody. And people had said at the time that people have been putting buses, so I thought, well, he's probably on one of the buses, when he's helping to, maybe they've been taken on to Enniskillen, because I think there was there Sligo and Oma and different hospitals, so I suppose after that there, I don't know if it's a bit of a blur. We all sort of gathered, and Brian's son had been out in the county hospital, so he was able to clarify that he wasn't out in the county and he hadn't been found, or so then we thought, well, he must have been taken to some of the other hospitals, So I don't know, we sort of all started to gather. I don't know if we were told to go to the leisure centre, and we sort of all, we'd been in my sister-in-law's house, and then we all went to the leisure centre and sort of really walked about waiting. And I think at that stage there was 9 confirmed dead, and then as the evening would go on, it would be 10 and it would be 11, and you just thought, well, it's going to stop soon, and we sort of stayed there all night. And I remember my other brother, we hadn't really been in contact with him, and I'd said to my sister-in-law, maybe we should go up and tell Noel, because the rest of us all seemed to be about, because we all sort of live quite local. And so we went up, I think it was about 12 o'clock, but it was still clear and bright. And me and my sister drove up to my sister-in-law's house to tell her that we hadn't found Brian, and she was sort of, well, do you think will it be all right, and do you think we'll be okay? And we says, well, no, Margaret, we can't. So anyway, so she got into the car and we went back down, and So I think we went back to the leisure centre and we all walked about. My brother at that stage had come down then to the leisure centre to join in with us. And we left. We stayed in the leisure centre, and then I think there was 8 o'clock mass that Sunday morning, and we all sort of went to mass, like. And then the rest of the days we sort of just drifted in and out, and we still had no coffin, so there was sort of like an ongoing sort of wake. I suppose by Saturday night, or maybe Sunday, we still thought, but there was nothing happening. It's very hard, when you're not in that situation. It's all right standing back now, and we see so many detective films on the television, and you think to yourself, you could get arrogant and you could say, well, we should have been told this and we should have been told that, and it's not getting you anywhere. So you were depending that people were doing their jobs correctly and the right people would tell you the right information, but it was getting very difficult. And the police were coming to the house, I think on the Monday, and they were trying to get fingerprints. And my sister-in-law, Brian's wife, Bernadette, she's so clean. She'd nearly been annoyed if they got fingerprints because she's so clean, and everything would be immaculate. So the police had come across. When you used to get photographs developed, I know now we've all digital cameras and we don't really use prints much. But when you would get photographs developed, you would get a wee photo album free with the photos. And Brian had left in photos, and they were probably of his crying and horrible things, but they were his wee things. So he had put the photographs into the wee album. So the police had been all around the house. They were, the powder, and they were in cars, and they were trying to get fingerprints and that. And so I think they took away the wee photo album, and they got fingerprints, and I think through that, and again, because it was much as he was our brother, because it was Bernadette, it was her family, we couldn't ask questions, we were sort of just hoping that he didn't want to start butting in and saying, like, what's happening, or what have they told you, or, you were sort of waiting just to be told, so I think by Tuesday then they had confirmed that he was dead.